with us. A beautiful sunshine, low 80s for a high today. And as we welcome you into the AFA Today studios, we're saying thank you for being with us all week this week. It was a very interesting set of conversations, and I hope one that you found some benefit in. Kevin McCullough, always glad to be with you as we take a look at what's going on news-wise here in the smack dab middle of the day that you've got going on. And let me just start out by saying I want to make an observation about news coverage and what is or isn't happening in some arenas of news coverage these days. It is very discouraging when you open the newspaper and you read a story about a World War II veteran being beaten almost to death. In Spokane, Washington, World War II veteran Delbert Belton, nicknamed Shorty, survived being wounded in action during the Battle of Okinawa, only to be beaten and left for dead by two teens at the Eagles Lodge in Spokane on Wednesday evening. He's 88, succumbed to injuries Thursday morning at Sacred Heart Medical Center. The Spokane County Medical Examiner's Office says Belton died of blunt facial and head injuries. Witnesses say Belton was in the parking lot of the Eagles Lodge at 6410, adjacent to the Eagles Ice Arena, around 8 p.m. This was on Wednesday night when the two male suspects attacked him as he was about to head inside to play a little pool. Police responded with canines to track the suspect's scent, but were not able to locate them. It does appear random. He was in the parking lot. It appears he was assaulted in the parking lot, and there was no indication that he would have known these people prior to the assault. Belton died of his injuries Thursday morning at Sacred Heart Medical Center. Shorty, as he was known by his friends at the Eagles Lodge, served in the U.S. Army in the Pacific during World War II and was shot in the leg during the Battle of Okinawa. He went on to work at Kaiser Aluminum and the company's Trentwood plant for more than 30 years. His wife passed away several years ago. He loved playing pool, even though he claimed he was no good at it. He'd been a member of the Eagles Lodge for the last 4 months. One of his friends of 23 years and worked on Cars Daily with said he was always there for me when I needed him. We joked back and forth. We were always having fun and some sort of fun. The suspects still at large. However, the Spokane Police Department are working to track them down. The police are looking for two male suspects in the attack. They said the suspects are African Americans between 16 and 19 years of age. One suspect was described as heavy-set, wearing all black clothing. The other described as about 6 feet tall and 150 pounds. This senseless beating by two people of one race against another person of another race follows on the heels of the Oklahoma shooting for kicks story that happened this week, in which 4 black teens targeted a white college student that was actually a fairly gifted baseball player in Oklahoma. Not even an American citizen, an Australian citizen, that has caused some outrage. I'm just wondering, since we live in the post-racial world and in the post-racial society that we live in which we don't look at race, we don't acknowledge race, we don't say race has anything to do with it anymore. I'm just wondering, Mr. Obama, and please, I make this plea to you, Mr. Obama. When will we hear from the Oval Office or from the West Wing how this young baseball player could have been your son, or how this World War II veteran could have been your father, and how what the actions of these 6 attackers, 4 in Oklahoma, 2 in Washington, were the result of racial profiling, why it's wrong, and why you're going to do all that you can to get the Justice Department to the bottom of the to find out the bottom line on this, and to get to the heart of the matter and to put a stop to it once and for all. Mr. Obama, I'm waiting for you to not racially demagogue something else, but actually to show that you're a fair person, playing fair-handedly, not being a hypocrite, not being someone who says one thing one day and then flips the coin and decides to ignore the issue the next. I'm waiting for you, Mr. Obama, to do the right thing. And I beg and plead of you, Mr. President, if you identify that this young college kid lost his life. By the way, this young college kid just minding his own business, truly had no record at all. I mean, unlike the absconded records of marijuana use and school suspension and all the other stuff that the media helped cover up in a certain other prominent case in which there was racial profiling accused and no evidence of, it's pretty clear that in these two cases it was nothing but racial profiling. Please, Mr. Obama, explain to me your silence. Explain to me your deafness to the cries of people that genuinely hurt. What's that? All we have is crickets? Oh, it's because you're a flaming hypocrite. I get it. Okay. Well, as long as we understand the game as it's being played, as long as we understand that it's okay for you to be a racist in the White House while accusing everyone else to be a racist, as long as we understand that that's the way it works, now we know. Now we've been made fully aware, and now we can operate in a world where truth exists because we now see for ourselves that you're nothing but a flaming, hypocritical opportunist that seeks to prop up your own advantage via created outrage and anger when it doesn't exist, and totally willing to be a total flaming hypocrite when it does exist on the other hand. I'm glad, Mr. President, that we were able to have this conversation, get to the bottom of the matter, because if there's one thing that I don't want to be burdened with for the rest of the presidency while you're in office, is that I have to sit here and pretend that you have some sort of legitimate, genuine concern for the matter of race in America. The fact that you're a two-bit circus squalor about this, and that you're out there and you're willing to chase the ambulance when you think there's a buck in it for you, and you're not willing to take a stand, take a morally righteous stand to defend people that are shot down or beaten to death with flashlights simply because they happen to be a race that is different than the people that attacked them. Mr. President, I'm grateful. You're helping me today, Mr. President. You're helping me understand that racism comes in all forms and colors, and that you yourself exhibit it as much as anybody else does, especially those that you've accused of it in the past. So thank you, President Obama. I finally understand what post-racial means to you. You mighty uniter, trying to bring the blue and the red together so that there's not, all these different colors of there's just one United States of America. Thank you for being someone who strives for unity and strives to help us become a better nation. Thank you, Mr. President. Thanks for at least letting us know who you really are. Speaking of that, there's a new poll up at onenewsnow.com. Doesn't have anything to do with those stories. I just needed to get that out there. I sure hope that Think Progress and all those other ones will pick it up and relay it. I would love for Mr. President to see it and to actually give us a response, because I don't want to see our nation fail. I don't want to see our leaders be hypocrites. I pray for them every day. I guess I'm just tired of things not being the way they appear to be. And I guess I'm just going to have to live with that. But at least I know now what the framework of the game is. And at least I've been made aware of what we're up against. There's a poll that I want you to vote in over at onenewsnow.com. They have a daily poll there, and I always encourage you to go there. But today it has to do with a new ruling from a court that is, again, in this issue of sexual liberties versus religious liberties. But before I get into that story, let me take some calls. Mark in Virginia, you're up first on AFA Today here on AFR Talk. Hi.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. Thanks for taking the call.
Sure thing.
Yeah, I started listening to your opening statement, and I was like, what is Kevin talking about? Asking this quote-unquote leader to kind of step up and do what he's supposed to. And then I realized as you went on what you were really doing was indicating that that's not part of his agenda. And for some of us, and I'm sure you included, we have seen ever since this individual got put into the spotlight prior to his first election, what his motivations are, what his thought process is. I'm still trying to figure out, how did he get in this mindset? This quote-unquote leader, pretty much for the most part, appeared to have everything handed to him. He went to good schools. He hung out with, good people, apparently. And yet, somewhere along the line, he was radicalized, and he was became, as you said, and I agree, a racist. And this man is biracial, so he's had the privilege, if you will, of being raised in environments of both black and white, and experiencing that. And I would venture to say that he was never a victim of racial profiling, or he was never a victim of overt racism. But somewhere along the line, he became radicalized. And even starting in his first campaign, you could tell when he was up in Pennsylvania making the comments about people that, kind of didn't look like him, or, whatever, where he was coming from. And all throughout his presidency, he took the side immediately of African-American individuals, having little to no evidence of what went on. And I believe that he should be the one that should constantly be called onto the carpet for not dealing with an issue that, if any president or any leader of this country ever had an opportunity to heal or at least have an impact on race relations, he was the one that had that opportunity. And yet, because of his beliefs, his backgrounds, his associations, he rejected it, and he just went down that ugly, dark path of allowing this to continue. And when we see these cases of these, especially this veteran who was beating, and the student from Australia just being shot in cold blood, and like you said, for him not to come out and say, "Look, we need to deal with this," it's appalling and it's disgusting. And I believe, as I think you do, there's no changing this individual, this mindset. And we're in deep, deep trouble in this nation, and it's not going to get any better.
All right, Mark. Thank you for your thoughts. It's AFA Today. I'm Kevin McCullough. The phone number is 888-589-8840. Let me take another call. Kyle in Arkansas. Kyle, you're up next on AFA Today. Go right ahead.
Thanks for taking my call, Kevin. My big comment today is, I've heard over and over that blacks can't be racist. And, I mean, it's as ridiculous as anything I've ever heard, because any race, and there's members of all races that are, and Obama is becoming one of the biggest that we've ever, heard of in our country. And, it's a hard thing. Myself, I'm a born-again Christian, not to be somewhat prejudiced. I know we're called in the Bible to pray for him, and like Brian Fisher does it on his show every day, and I try to, but more and more that he does, or he, turns it one way and another, it's just hard to continue even praying for the guy. And if anything, I think he's created more racial problems in America than we had in probably 2 decades. I'm 52 years old, so I've been around some time and seen a lot of things, and it's becoming constant. Every week at least we're hearing something where blacks, they call them African Americans, are beating or killing a white person, yet we never hear any of the Obama or Reverend Al or any of those come out about it. So thanks for taking my call, Kevin.
Kyle, you're welcome. And if you disagree with me, by the way, on any of this, you get to go straight to the front of the line, 888-589-8840. That's always the policy at any place Kevin McCullough broadcasts. If you disagree with Kevin's position, you will get preferential treatment. 888-589-8840. The truth is, these are evidences of harsh racial bias, and I didn't think the president should have inserted himself into the Trayvon Martin case, but if he is, what's preventing him from inserting himself into these cases? Unless there's just an absolute hypocritical double standard, and that's what it appears by his silence there appears to be. Could be wrong. I'm Kevin McCullough. This is AFA Today. Glad you're with us on AFR Talk.